everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is our broadcast coming to you live from gloomy California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Newsday Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. It's Newsday Tuesday. You see Clinton calling out the Epstein files? Yes, of course I have. I like to call it mutually assured pedophilia destruction. It's the mad principle, but for pedophilia. Something that I called out from afar a couple months prior to this was that there was a likelihood that Donald Trump was actually going to hit the Bill Clinton line. He was just going to be like, look, like the Trump DOJ was most likely going to dangle Bill Clinton as red meat for his base with the hopes that it will get them to pay attention to Bilbo Clinton here, and then that would be enough for them. Obviously, it hasn't been all that successful. This, look, well, Bill Clinton is all over the files and not my big, beautiful president because they botched it. They botched the coverage. They botched the release. They fucked it up. They very clearly applied a heavy-handed redaction, as I told you already. Also, on top of that, they ended up botching the redactions. Apparently, some of the redactions are unredacted. They have released files in the past. The Department of Justice released files in the past that were unredacted that had Trump's name all over them. But now they're releasing the very same files where they are redacting Trump's name. And it makes everybody realize that, no, they're just like first and foremost invested in what we all suspected, which is preserving Donald Trump's name and protecting Donald Trump. And it's very cynical because they're claiming that they're doing this in an effort to protect the victims. But like I said, Bilbo Clinton came out and was like, it's time. It's mutually assured pedophilia destruction. He hit the button and he said, hey, put it all out there, King. Let your nuts hang. I've seen those nuts. It's Bubba time, mutually assured pedophile destruction. That's how it is. It's all happening, baby, and it's fucking glorious. Let's just start here. Let's just start with the Department of Justice releasing a new trove of Epstein files.
Overnight, under pressure, the Department of Justice releasing thousands more Jeffrey Epstein files, the most substantial dump of documents so far, including never-before-seen investigative materials. In this email from the day after Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking minors.
Okay, before we actually get to the new trove of data, it would be a disservice for me not to give you a heads up because I also work for the Department of Justice now. And as someone who works for the Department of Justice, I have to tell you guys, okay, listen, Trump's name is all over the files that we're about to release. I'm obviously one of the paralegals that is now tasked with doing social media at the Department of Justice. So my supervisors tasked me with crafting a tweet because obviously my primary job and the primary job of the Department of Justice right now is not to actually like defend the victims or uncover certain truths about Jeffrey Epstein or whatever. It's actually just about preserving the feelings of Donald Trump, my big, beautiful president, who I am almost single-mindedly invested in defending, oftentimes defending his personal feelings. So what do I do as a part of my job at the Department of Justice? Well, let me tell you what I do. I tweet the dumbest possible fucking tweet that anyone could have tweeted. The Department of Justice officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false. And if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the Department of Justice is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims. I think I did a pretty good job here, right, guys? No one's going to ask questions, right? Please stop saying the president is a pedophile, everybody. It's really messed up that this high-profile pedophilia case has Donald Trump and his name and his affiliations written all over it. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up at my new job at the Department of Justice as an intern paralegal. They made me type this up, and I think I did a very good job. Now, no one will think, and I mean, no one will think Donald Trump is culpable here. He might be a co-conspirator here. I got my inspiration from the Drake defense, which I thought worked really well when Drake and Kendrick were duking it out. If I was a pedophile, I promise you I would have been arrested. Is that good? Was that a good one? Was that a good counter? The other one was the famous, I am not an unindicted co-conspirator in an international sex trafficking of minors case t-shirt is bringing up a lot of questions that the t-shirt is actually supposed to be answering. It's very strange. It's always good when you reveal ahead of time that, hey guys, the president's name might be all over, but I need you to understand something. He's not, it's just all fake news. Now, with that information in mind, I need you to understand the Department of Justice was forced to release this information, but, it doesn't mean anything about the president.
In this email from the day after Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking minors in 2019, an unidentified person at the New York FBI field office already in pursuit of potential
So this specific redaction is one of the most insane ones. It quite literally has the subject co-conspirators, and there are redactions specifically made that lead us to believe that those redactions might have been on co-conspirators, which is something that Julie K. Brown, who's obviously all over the Epstein stuff as an investigative reporter, also pointed to. Why are the names of Epstein's co-conspirators redacted? Like, what the fuck are we doing? What do you mean? You left the subject co-conspirators. The only person whose name we can see here is Wexner, Les Wexner, L Brands, right? Redacted does not need to head out. We made contact with Redacted last night in New York. Contact was made with Redacted. Attempts were made to Redacted and Brunel. Redacted is confirmed to live in New York, but was far away for the holiday weekend. We did not have a good address for Redacted, but attempt was made at residence in New York. Attempts to Maxwell are being made in Boston today. Redacted will be approached in Florida and Redacted in New York, but haven't as of yet. I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. What the fuck? And then there's also obviously Alex Acosta, this was the meat and potatoes. This is, at least for like someone who has been following, Jeffrey Epstein's finances and his misdealings and his illicit behavior for so many years, this was the thing that I really wanted to find out, right? This is something that I actually brought up to Ro Khanna as well. The plea deal that he got in the 2008 case from now sitting on the board of Newsmax, former Florida prosecutor Alexander Acosta, who became Donald Trump's labor secretary, if you recall. How did Jeffrey Epstein get a sweetheart plea bargain that no sex offender has ever gotten before or after, especially at his level? Because the thing is, our criminal justice system protects sex offenders in many cases, right? It's not very good at dealing with sex crimes. We already know that. The investigators are not very good with it. The prosecutors are not very good with it notoriously, especially when the offender is actually a very wealthy person, white person. All this stuff is correct, right? But this goes above and beyond, especially with the mountain of evidence that was readily available. And yet they got him dead to rights and they basically let him go. So I was always incredibly confused. Okay. I was very confused about like how this deal came about. And if you guys recall, Alex Acosta personally stated, Epstein belonged to intelligence was what he had heard. Right? There's that question there as well.
Then this email mentioning President Trump from a federal prosecutor in Maxwell's 2020 case, writing up to...
This one is crazy. It's federal prosecutors talking to one another about Epstein's flight records in 2020 going, hey, just so you know, Donald Trump was on the Epstein jets a lot more than we thought he was between 93 and 96, and also was on it on various different timelines. He was on it with his family. He was on it with just Jeffrey, and he was on it with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he was on it potentially with co-conspirators alongside Ghislaine Maxwell, or at least eyewitnesses alongside Ghislaine Maxwell. So if there is an investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell, probably Donald Trump is going to be on that investigation as well. Just wanted to put that in front of you,
Obtained flight records reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case.
There is no greater vindication for the American left that has time and time again said that devoid of party affiliation is utterly irrelevant. These guys are tasked first and foremost with protecting every wealthy, potentially pedophilic person. This is what we've been saying for years and years. I used to always joke and say, you know, there's uniparty consensus when it comes to certain things: foreign policy, defending Israel, and tax cuts and deregulation, and also protecting pedophiles and pedophilia of the elite. And it turns out this is yet another moment of vindication for the left that has said that. This is uniparty. Doesn't matter if it's fucking Brandon's DOJ. Doesn't matter if it's Trump's DOJ. They did not pursue these leads, and they let these leads die out. In some instances, quite literally die out. But we'll get there.
Trump and Epstein had a decades-long friendship, but a falling out in the early 2000s after Trump says Epstein stole Mar-a-Lago employees. Also in the thousands of documents, photos of an Austrian passport with Epstein's picture.
And it says his fucking place of residence is Saudi Arabia. What's he doing in Saudi Arabia, bro? Wow. Interesting. Saudi Arabia, you say? Yeah, I am a spy for Israel, and this is my passport. I am an artist from Israel. Yeah, very interesting. Oh, I guess he must have been in the pocket of the Gulf states, which is totally separate from Israel and totally separate from America. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a Saudi spy as well. I mean, he was deeply connected to UAE, even more so than Saudi Arabia. But let's be real. All of these Gulf states are additional vassals for American empire. There's some separation of power there. There's a little bit of... you know, if you look at Qatar, for example, Qatar and Turkey are secondary in terms of their contributions to America's interests, whereas like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are far, far more connected to both Israel and the United States of America, even though Qatar obviously is as well. That's where US CENTCOM is, and Turkey is a NATO country. So there is varying degrees of involvement. But if you see like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, like all of the Abraham Accords countries, for example, like the big ones, just know that it is most likely directly connected to Israel as well. I spent a year in Qatar. It's basically an American colony. It was nuts. I mean, a lot of the Gulf states are like that. The reason why I say like there is a separation there with Qatar is because while it does play the role of an American vassal, it's basically designed in a way where it's supposed to be like almost like a neutral territory, so that, you know, you can have like the Hamas leadership live on Qatari soil, for example, so that they can do these negotiations and whatnot in places like Qatar. They're aligned vassals, but also all these countries spy on each other, including the Mossad and CIA. Their intelligence agencies don't always get along. No, absolutely. But I do think that in the case of Jeffrey Epstein, he is the connective tissue, because while these intelligence agencies don't always get along, there are plenty that actually do get along, and there are plenty of agents that work for both at times, at different times. Like you say CIA and the Mossad famously hate each other, sure, but there are also people who have worked both for the CIA as an asset or directly, and also Mossad as well. So, you know, I think Jeffrey Epstein would probably be considered as one of those guys that did both. American citizen, deeply embedded in the American financial elite, that had obvious ties, deep ties to Israeli leadership and also Western leaders in general, with a Austrian passport that had a Saudi place of residence. Probably just a guy who really loves pedophilia personally. That's probably what it is, guys. Nothing to see here. Jeffrey Epstein, the financier, nothing to see here, okay? Who amongst us doesn't have an Austrian passport with a totally different name with a Saudi place of residence? I don't understand. Like, what? Guys, please stop looking. Please stop looking into this, okay? It's totally normal. I'm Ezra Klein, and I want to say Jeffrey Epstein was doing pedophilia the right way. I'm Ezra Klein for the New York Times, and today I'm going to tell you, was Jeffrey Epstein a prolific sex criminal? Yes. Was Jeffrey Epstein also deeply embedded in the financial elite and deeply entangled with numerous world leaders? Also, yes. I also happen to believe that this was totally separate. This was totally separate from one another. Please stop investigating the connective tissue further. The funniest way that Israel could try, like Zionists could try and do Hasbara on the Epstein stuff now, would be to claim that Jeffrey Epstein actually reverted to Islam and he got the Saudi place of residence because he was doing the Hajj or something. You know what I mean? I'm speculating, but I assume there's some Unit 8200 guys right now going, oh, why couldn't it be Qatar? God damn it. Why did it have to be Saudi Arabia? If we could just get him on something that's related to Qatar, we can just keep saying like, oh, you see, Jeffrey Epstein, agent of Qatar, like Tucker Carlson.
And you ruin the reputation of somebody.
Oh, this was also a beautiful moment. Hey, guys, in a beautiful moment of elite pedophilic unity, Donald Trump yesterday came out amidst all of the announcements that he was making about how they're making new boats and all this shit. He turned around and said, oh, I love Bill Clinton. Yeah, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff got him defending Bill Clinton. My friend Bill was good friends with him for many years. Unfairly being yelled at right now. Who amongst us has not found themselves innocently on the private jet of a known international pedophile? Every one of us has accidentally slipped and fell into the jet of a known pedophile sex trafficker. Look away. Could have happened to anybody. And it's like one of those moments where it's like, no, actually, it could not have happened to anybody. It can only happen to a very, very small number of people, yourself included. It's not like a normal thing at all. Very strange that you're saying this is, I just... Yeah, who amongst us, right? Okay, in his defense, it's hard to hate someone who shares your interests. True. Also, once again, both of these guys are probably, not in the right headspace right now. One of their besties died a couple years ago, but he was such an impactful figure in their lives that, they're sad. They're still recovering from the sadness that they feel in their fucking hearts. Here it is. Here's Donald Trump in his glory. I think it's terrible. I like Bill Clinton.
I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him.
He's got great dick game. Bubba, many of you don't know this. I've heard. I don't know this personally. I've heard he's got great dick game. I don't know. Many people were saying it. That's right. Not me. I don't know. Many people are saying I hate Hillary more because she took Bubba away from me. Lock her up so I can have Bubba all to myself. That's why I say lock her up. A lot of people thought I hate Hillary for the emails. Meanwhile, I just wanted to have Bill all to myself.
But this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they give me their photos of me, too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. I think it's terrible. Look.
Well, we learned about Biden's dick game from his wife, and now we're learning about Clinton's dick game from Trump. Yeah, work wife. What? It's the same shit, You got your wife, and then you got your work wife. Everybody knows how this works. One could assume Bubba and Trump were in a work wife style situation. But yeah, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff is finally uniting the American political landscape. We have been divided for far too long, folks. This is what Nancy Pelosi truly wanted when she said, we want to unite. We want to get back to bipartisanship. Turns out we're back to bipartisanship. Our pedophilic elite are united on, I guess, defending the interests of other pedophilic elite and themselves, preserving their own personal reputations. Isn't that wonderful? Don't you love to see that, folks? I personally do. Love that the divisive political landscape is finally coming to a halt.
A lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party.
Yeah.
And you ruin the reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry.
Yeah, these guys hate it. These guys hate the besmirching of the reputation of wonderful people like this. I can't believe it. How dare you besmirch the reputation of all these elites that I spent years and years leaning into QAnon pedophilia conspiracies on. Now that it turns out I was one of the pedophilic elite, potentially, allegedly. All of a sudden, why are you besmirching the reputation of these big, beautiful people? I think one of the interesting parts about this also is like when Donald Trump chirps about this, he is obviously physically incapable of talking about this in any way, shape, or form that reads as a person invested in uncovering these truths that many people want to find. He just comes across like a guy who's trying to do ass covering, right? So when he says stuff like this, he's like, oh, the American people, they're very saddened. They're very angry. It's like, yeah, they are, except they're fucking angry at you as well as everybody else that was, propping up Jeffrey Epstein for many, many years. You're not even doing a good enough job of like communicating your involvement here or what your DOJ is doing. And it's so obvious that like a narcissistic child caught with his hands in the cookie jar, you're just, trying to shift the attention to everything else. And I just don't think that it's going to work. I don't think that the way he's communicating here is going to cause people to go, you know what? I agree with the president. I also think it's really fucked up that they're besmirching the reputation of David Brooks and Google CEO Sergey Brin. Yeah, I'm a diehard Republican, triple voter for MAGA, very invested in this, deep state pedophilia conspiracy. And now that there's like hard evidence coming out that, a lot of very wealthy people are involved, including my favorite president, I'm going to now come to his and all of the, all the defense of people like Bill Gates. What do you think is going to happen? A lot of the MAGA Twitter accounts, they try to go on the timeline and say like, bet you libtards are mad about Bill Clinton being outed. And it's like, no, because even fucking liberals that love Kamala Harris or love Joe Biden or love Barack Obama, even liberals don't have the same association or love for Bill Clinton as you have for Donald Trump. So no, I haven't seen a lot of liberals turn around and talk about how Bill Clinton is innocent, as a matter of fact. No, many people are just like, yeah, no, lock them all up. I don't give a shit. What do you mean? And it's very interesting because like you do see this like, you see this cult style defense from a lot of these people, right? Where they're so aggressively trying to communicate this partisan narrative that they suspect the other side of having. No one is doing that. No one's doing that at all. I took my Bill Clinton flag down yesterday and my Bill bumper stickers too.
Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers. And Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was. I actually threw him out.
Everybody was. Who wasn't friends with this guy? It's like, yeah, that's the problem, brother. When Donald Trump says everybody was friends with this guy, I don't think he understands how that reads to normal people. Normal people that hear that don't go, oh, that makes sense. I mean, come on, you have to obviously dip into the pedophilia pool a little bit. Everybody else is doing it. You just don't want to feel left out. No, they think, yeah, that's what we've been saying, and that's what the fucking problem is. I love when he is so slammed in his own echo chamber of isolated elites that he just comes out and says dumb shit like this, where he's like, come on, who wasn't friends with this fucking guy? Come on, right? Like, you guys were, right? And it's just like, no, actually, that's fucking insane. And that's kind of what we were suspecting all along, that yes, you guys are also all of the financial elite and people in higher levels of government are involved in this massive conspiracy potentially, right? It's kind of the whole point. It's kind of the thing that people were suspecting and were very upset about.